Yeah.
Those bacon tables had one.
Good.
So long,
Those are
so
good.
good.
And I love their season chocolate, like
It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
I agree.
Coffee too.
Okay. Would you call the roll, please?
Danielle McKenzie. Jason Blair.
Here.
Melissa Hunt.
Here.
Louis Williams.
Here.
Adam Webb.
Here.
Mark Ham.
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 is a consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held July the 6th, 2020. Item B is approve and reappoint the reappointment of Janie Milam and Kelly Maddox to the Parks Board for a 3-year term effective July 2020. And item C is approve a memorandum agreement for FY 2021 with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board and the U.S. Geological Survey for stream gauging. Item D is accept a 5-foot temporary construction easement from James Reynolds located at Lot 21, Block 65 of Southgate Addition, also known as 813 North Gale. Item E is accept a 10-foot temporary construction easement and a 15-foot permanent drainage easement from Carol Ann Raines located on Lot 15, Block 66 of the Southgate Addition, also known as 905 North Gale. Item F, accept a 10-foot temporary construction easement and a 19-foot permanent utility easement from Lana Spiegel, located on Lot 5, Block 66 of the Southgate Addition, also known as 1105 North Gale. Item G, accept public water, sewer, paving, and drainage improvements to serve the Edgewater Addition, Section 2, being south of Southeast 19th Street and west of Sunnyland Road, application by R&R Land Development, Rocky Clark. Item H, approve a job description for the position of Public Affairs Director and approve placement in the, in the pay grade of 123 of the city's salary table. And item I is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2019-2020 in the amount of $2,006,894.98 and approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2020-2021 in the amount of $8,514.85.
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, thank you both. This is a consent item. Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item number 3 is receive a presentation from Garber Engineering regarding the Eastern Avenue Street project.
Mayor and Council, back in 2018, the citizens approved the 2018 GO bond, which included one specific project was Eastern Avenue from Northeast 12th Street to Southeast 19th Street. What we want to do is go ahead and provide a presentation. This project will be broken up into 2 phases. Tonight we have Ron Petrie, Senior Project Manager with Garver, and Brent Thomas, a landscape architect, that'll go through a slideshow that addresses those 2 phases.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Please give me a thumbs up if you can. Thank you very much. We have a lot to go through, so I'm going to jump right into this. A portion of Eastern Avenue that we're discussing starts at Northeast 12th Street, runs approximately 2 miles down to Southeast 19th Street. We were given 5 objectives by the city staff when we started the project. First, do the reconstruction of any pavement repairs needed along the corridor, improve capacity, specifically the intersection areas, improve the pedestrian infrastructure along the corridor, specifically a 10-foot wide multi-use trail along the whole corridor, improve the drainage where needed, and have an emphasis on streetscaping, landscaping, so this is not just your typical corridor. Since we've done the preliminary engineering report, we have a significant number of analyses that was performed, and just want to talk a little bit about each of these really quick. Starting with the traffic volumes, the numbers that you see in black are the existing vehicles per day. So on the north end, you're looking at 16,200 vehicles per day, which is pretty consistent down to Southeast 4th Street. It drops slightly to 14,800 south of Southeast 4th Street. And the red numbers are the numbers that are projecting the traffic out to 2042. So it does jump to 24,000 vehicles per day on the north end. On the south end to 23,200 vehicles per day. If we look at level of service on the intersections, level of service works just like in school. So grades A is good, F is bad. So existing conditions, your level of service for the Northeast 12th intersection, level of service D, which falls to F in 2042. For Main Street and Southeast 4th Street, current conditions level of service C, which is a passing grade, but unfortunately it falls to level of service F in the future. Kind of the same situation at Southeast 19th Street. We looked at a safety analysis where we took 4 years of crash data and compiled that information. You can see it's fairly well spread out along the corridor. The good news is there were 0 fatalities along the corridor, but unfortunately 6 of those crashes involved pedestrians. And the corridor is 45% above the statewide overall crash rate and 200% above the statewide injury rate. So that's information that can be used to go after state and federal funds to help with the improvements. We look at the pavement, the analysis of the whole corridor. In this particular map, north is to the right. Everything shown in red are areas that really needs immediate attention, full depth reconstruction in those areas. Some spot repairs shown in yellow, but really the rest of the corridor is in fair to good shape. We did analysis of the drainage, did identify areas that need improvements, so those can be done along with the improvements. Did an inventory of the pedestrian facilities. Those areas in red are just showing gaps in the sidewalks. Also identified all the ADA improvements that would be recommended along the corridor. Brent?
All right, thanks, Ron. So very briefly, streetscape is a very broad term, but essentially it directly relates to quality of life, and it's how people use the corridor from a bicycling and pedestrian standpoint, but also visually how the corridor appears. So throughout, we try to do, as you know, it's a very typically suburban corridor right now. So what we wanted to do was provide some design concepts and some ideas that can be used throughout the entire corridor to improve the visual appearance, but also be able to help extend and promote more in the city's brand. And that included everything looking at wayfinding signage, specialized pavements near intersections, as well as street trees and other landscaping where right-of-way and utilities permitted.
So through all the studies that were done as part of the preliminary engineering report, we identified around $24 million worth of improvements. So we know from a feasibility standpoint, it's really not feasible to proceed with all those improvements. So we wanted to give the city some options. So we just starting with some short-term improvements that we recommend. So the area you see in red are really the corresponding areas you saw on the previous map that we recommend full depth reconstruction. We feel that having a good foundation of all the improvements would be the best way to start off. So here on the north end, from Northeast 12th to right beyond Northeast 9th Street, recommend that, that gets completely torn out, completely rebuilt. We put the sidewalk improvements along there, along with the landscaping improvements that we'll show in just a minute. And also, should point out, while we're doing this work, we would do some widening on this western side to allow for future double lefts at the intersection. So going further south, this is between Main Street, Southeast 4th Street. We want to set up our phase 2 improvements by acquiring all the right-of-way needed at this phase in case there's federal funds in phase 2. We won't have to deal with all that. Starting at Southeast 4th Street going south, again, as you saw on the full depth reconstruction, you would start removing that pavement, starting back from scratch, do some minor widenings to again allow for future intersection improvements, and start the trail, do the trail work at the same time. That work would proceed down to Southeast 13th Street, and again, building trail and filling in sidewalk gaps as you go along and do those improvements. Further south, Southeast 13th Street is just those spot repairs that you saw on the other drawing. So for landscaping,
All right, so I'm going to follow the same order that Ron did. So we're going to start back up north at Northeast 12th Street. There are a lot of utilities. Right-of-way could be an issue, so we don't, in this area, have a lot of street trees shown. And what we do have shown are shorter ornamental trees, which will work with the existing aerial lines. Some of the other improvements in this area would include some pavers and other features at the intersections, as well as proposed wayfinding signage at this intersection. Moving a little bit further south again, street trees with emphasis along the multi-use trail. One of the features I will point out is we did a conceptual study of what it would look like to do some landscape screening around the pump station that's found down near Southeast 8th Street. So that bottom center image really looks at what that might look like with ornamental grasses and some evergreen shrubs, kind of screening some of that equipment there. Next slide, please.
I think that was it for you, right, Brent?
Yep.
Okay, so if so all the improvements that we showed you guys, with total $3.9 million, and as a kind of recommendation of how to finance that. One thing is that we would recommend the northern portion that we show from Northeast 12th down to Northeast 19th Street. So all the reconstruction, sidewalks, landscaping actually get added to your Northeast 12th Street project. And from there, we would apply for the 2022 ACOG funding for this work along with the Northeast 12th Street project. That would, you would have 2.7 roughly remaining to be paid for through your transportation fund.
If I may, Mayor and Council, just address just briefly, one of the reasons that we decided to do this is, as we said, we had submitted an application for the Northeast 12th Street project, and originally this intersection of 12th Street and Eastern was part of the Eastern Avenue project. We looked at an application to submit to ACOG for some federal funding for both projects, and we just didn't score well enough on the Eastern Avenue project for that Phase 1 project. And we did score well enough where at least for year 2, which would be federal fiscal year 2022, we did score well enough at this point in time where we actually are the top project and look like we could get some funding for the Northeast 12th Street project. And so one thing that happens each year after the first year's funding is committed, then you go into year 2, which is where we submitted for Northeast 12th Street. Everything can be allowed to be resubmitted. And so a lot of times Oklahoma City and Edmond and Norman and other communities, they submit projects and they put them in the phase 2 or the year 2 project or year 3, and they don't score as well, but they do come back later and revise their submittals and are able to raise their score and seem to get a majority of the projects that and funding that are available. So what we decided to do was look at, there was some accident reports and some injury accidents along that intersection, and with some of the landscaping, we thought we could maybe increase our scoring on Northeast 12th Street by incorporating that intersection into the Northeast 12th Street project. And if we're successful with that, then that would mean that we would get 80% funding from the state and federal government to fund that project. We won't know until after we submit I think the submittals are due in September timeframe, again for year 2 and 3. And so that's why we decided to do that. We reduced the amount that we're going to spend 100% out of our funding by $1.1 million, and hopefully we're able to get 80% from the state and federal. Go ahead, Ron, with phase 2.
Yes, sir. Just one more slide before we get to phase 2. Give you an idea on the schedule. Everything sounds good. We move forward with the short-term improvements. We're looking at really designing the project the rest of the year and having the ability to start construction kind of mid-spring throughout the summertime. So now what we call phase 2 improvements, these are just specifically geared toward funding, really. So we feel like these improvements specifically were funded well to get future 2023 funds and again allow for even more improvements along the corridor. So real quick, starting on the south end this time, here Southeast 19th Street, we're looking at completing the trail segment up to where it stopped, including some drainage improvements that are needed to get across this creek, and filling in some sidewalk gaps. Going north between Southeast 4th Street and Main Street, this go from 4 lanes to 5 lanes throughout this corridor. It's 5 lanes here in front of the high school. So you have a typical section that looks something like this: 5 lanes with the trail, sidewalk on the other side. Continue the trail beyond up to the north to where the phase 1 improvements stopped previously. On the intersection down on the south at Southeast 19th Street, we're looking at some capacity improvements, adding a dual left turn lane if you're going north, and also a designated right turn lane if you're going south to west. So for the landscaping, Brent?
All right, again, carrying on with that same theme, we would provide additional trees throughout the corridor where we have the ability to, again, keeping in mind the location of both underground and overhead utilities. And in that regard, we would select species that would be the appropriate size for those locations. And again, we would look at wayfinding signage at some of these new intersections. Next slide, please, Ron. We have a lot of opportunity around the high school, and so working with staff, we looked at some additional treatments that could be done adjacent to Moore High School. We know through the design development that there have been issues, especially looking at the safety data of students crossing Eastern instead of going to the light, where there's a signalized crosswalk, that's an issue in this area. So what we've done, the upper right image, little inset, kind of shows a concept of introducing some additional pavement treatment behind the curb, using landscaping, bollards, and in this instance, a civic monument that could be developed, into the school colors. This is just really kind of an idea to kind of plant that seed for what this area could look like. But there's a lot of opportunity, particularly in this Main and Eastern Avenue area, to really provide some additional design detail economically and very effectively.
Thank you, Brent. So a total of estimated construction cost of the things that we just showed was right at $2.1 million. assuming that you make an application for those 2023 ACOG funds, we'd also recommend that you add the additional improvements for intersections at Southeast 4th Street and Main Street, which would add an additional $1 to $1.5 million. So right at $3.1 to $3.6 million is what we would recommend for the funding. So that's really all we're prepared to show, but I know between us and Mr. Ira, we'd be glad to answer the questions.
No, I know Adam and I had an opportunity to sit in, we served on the, I don't know, what was it?
ACOG?
The committee. And listened to it and Adam probably knows more about the landscaping. It was really clear on what the city was expecting and the residents. So I think it'll be great.
They put a lot of time into it. It'll be really good.
So I'm assuming we'll have an opportunity to get our hands on some drawings and be able to see some of this stuff up close.
Sure, once we get into the design phase of it, sure.
So what do you guys need from us?
Nothing, we just wanted to give you the presentation and let you know how we were going to proceed, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 2 is the one we really think we can get some funding from ACOG, as well as by moving that portion of the intersection to the 12th Street project.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
All right, item number 4 is receive a presentation from Parks and Recreation Department regarding proposed composting facility.
Mayor and Council, Whitney Walker from the Parks Department will give this presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. About a month ago, I was tasked with figuring out a program that would take our citizens' yard waste and turn it into usable compost. With that, I came up with more composting.
I think the batteries are on.
There we go. All right. The purpose of this program is to give our citizens an eco-friendly opportunity to turn in their yard waste and in turn give them access to compost. What is compostable? Any food waste, yard trimmings, that's grass, leaves, tree limbs, and then also most paper items. With our Type 1 composting facility permit, we are only allowed to take in yard waste. So the leaves, the trees, and grass clippings. Those tree limbs would be required to be less than 3 inches in diameter and also cut to 4-foot lengths. How will this waste be turned into compost? The most effective and efficient way to do this is through windrows. Windrows is just a waste that is piled into long rows, and then we add water and then turn that with machinery to create compost. Our windrow sizes will be approximately 4 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and an estimated 40 feet long. Goals of this program is to help decrease the number of trips by sanitation trucks to the landfill. On average, last year they hauled 9,400 pounds of yard waste per day to the landfill. If you estimate that out at 25 pounds a bag, that's 376 bags per day. We also want to provide knowledge and encouragement to our citizens to be more eco-friendly and to recycle more. We want to have a yearly average of a 10% total waste deduction going to the landfill. We also want to provide a quality compost to more citizens for free. We want them to come back every year. So, there's 2 potential locations. One is the old Holliston property. That's the northeast corner of Buck Thomas Park. And the other one is just south of the old water treatment plant. Both sites would need to be graded and covered with at least 8 inches of crush and run. And that would need to be tightly packed. We'd also need to add a 6-inch water line to help water those windrows. And then there also need at least to be an 8-foot metal perimeter fence. So this is these potential sites that are located here. One, you see the maximum size of the water treatment plant. The other one, you can see the potential size of the Huddleston property. They're quite a bit different. In order to get the same size at the water treatment plant, we would be required to tear down the old facility, water treatment plant. Establish a relationship with DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality. This is required to get our permit to have the composting facility. We also need to develop and implement guidelines and procedures to operate that composting facility. This is one of the requirements for not only running an efficient composting facility, but also to receive our permit. We'll need to hire additional full-time staff. That's a supervisor and one hand. This is a requirement to, one, run efficiently and effectively to create that compost, but two, DEQ requires us to take readings and inspections of the facility and write those things down and provide them whenever they come and do their facility inspection. We're going to need to purchase necessary equipment. That's a chipper for tree limbs. It's also a grinder or hammer mill to mix the materials to go into windrows. A track loader turner or tow behind turner. These are going to take the material once it's ready to be turned over and continue the process. We're going to need that piece of equipment to do that effectively. The temperature and oxygen probes are a requirement for those inspections for DEQ. Cost estimates. Huddleston property is, both site works are going to be, site prep is going to be about $96,000. Water connection is in between $2,000 and $8,000. The fence is going to be around $64,000. Total estimate is between $162,000 and $168,000. Equipment cost, $18,000 for a chipper. Grinder, hammer mill is about $80,000. Compact track loaders or tow behind is in between $32,000 and $45,000. And then miscellaneous safety and supplies is going to be $25,000. Total startup cost $323,000. With the 2 employees, with the city's cost, the supervisor's $85,000. The hand will be $56,700. Estimated operating cost right now is at $55,809. At a total cost of $520,509. If we tack in the additional savings, potential saving options with revenue of $1,500, park savings that we spend on mulch and other dirt materials, $3,000. Public works savings, these are trips to the landfill that can potentially just come to our facility and be processed for compost, $100,464 with a total cost after savings of $415,528. Right now, none of these items have been budgeted for this year. So at that time, I would like to thank you, and I'll take any of your questions.
So the smaller of the 2 sites, would it have the capacity to be able to generate the $100,000 worth of savings?
We believe so. It may be tough. We just have to see how efficient we are, but we have a good feeling that the potential is there.
The other 2 revenue lines, the $1,500 and the $3,000, where's that stream coming from?
So with the program, we're going to, if you register for the program and you're a Moore citizen, you'll get free compost. Okay. If you don't register and you're a non-resident, you're going to get charged a fee to purchase compost. Okay, and then there's also an additional fee to load it. If we use our equipment, we'll charge a small fee to load it.
Has there been consideration on how fast we could outgrow the smaller site?
Yes, yes, and the potential is highly likely. Okay. It just depends on kind of what happens throughout the year, how much participation we get. I think it'll be slow at first. We're not going to be open to take in material from citizens on a daily basis. We're going to limit that to try to control that access. But our city trucks will have access to be able to bring in those trees. We're going to need more of that tree material than the grass clippings that we're going to get normally from our citizens. The ratio has to be about 70-30 to give us a good, nice mix for compost.
In a lot like that Is there much odor associated with the making of compost?
There can be. That's why it's important that we have staff there to try to combat that. There's going to be some odors. It's just the bad odors we don't want, the sewer smells and those things, the dead fish smells. There's going to be an organic smell when the compost is created. That's going to be there. It's not really pungent. Some people may feel it is. I went down to Norman and visited their facility. It didn't seem that bad to me, but there is some odors associated with it.
Okay.
How much money are we gonna save on a daily basis with 376 bags not going to the landfill, as far as what the tipping fees are?
We estimated about 23 tons, so that's, at $21 a ton, you're looking at, what, 46, something like that. I mean, I'd have to do some quick math.
$500 a day?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, about 500
So
bucks.
how long would it take to, so you're talking about limited number of days in the beginning to give
Sure.
us a chance to ramp up. So to ramp up to capacity, what kind of a length of time are we talking about there?
Again, it depends on how much of that tree debris that we get starting with, I mean, all this is speculation and just taking as we have storms and things like that.
Starting in the spring will be quick.
Yeah, primarily we want to do most of our composting creation in the fall. That's when we're going to get our leaves, the majority of our tree limbs. We'll get a little bit of that in the spring, depending on who's cutting their trees down at that point in time. And then we'll start taking in those grass clippings.
What's the thought process behind the class 1 versus the class 2?
Well, we don't want to take in food waste. So class 2 is your food waste. You're going to get majority of your smells and bad odors from that.
Just, that was my supposition, but I wanted to hear you say that.
I had a lot of citizens interested in this, so they've been waiting, so I appreciate the
Yeah,
presentation.
Absolutely.
Great. We're looking forward to it.
And-
So.
And you talk about tree limbs, at 19th and Sunny Lane, behind the tree line, you can't see, there is about a 45-acre dump that EPA wants to shut down. That's tree limbs from asphalting. So we have a source for those.
Great.
Would it be also strictly residential, or would it be available for commercial businesses to dump grass clippings?
I really want to open it up to commercial. It's really going to depend on, I want to be able to take our own trees in that we process within our system through the city and through the citizens. If we find that we're not getting enough material, we can certainly push that out. Right now, we are wanting to do more commercial. A lot of them go down to Norman and drop their trees off there, so we want to give them an opportunity. Yeah.
So our idea from the financial side would be to look at next year's budget to see what we could do, or what's the thoughts there?
Well, my initial thought is that at least we wait another couple of months and see how the sales and use tax comes in, and if it comes in consistent and close to budget, then certainly we can revisit this and perhaps budget it this year, but at a minimum, at least look at it next year's budget.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very
Appreciate
good.
the work.
The world has changed. Okay, that brings me to the next item. Discuss a requirement to make wearing masks mandatory for restaurant and bar employees. And I put this on here, and at this time, we did a little survey, and all the people that I talked to in the restaurant business are basically already complying with this with their employees. So, I don't know that you guys, you want to say anything about it? This was done a couple of weeks ago. So,
Yeah. As far as, to my knowledge, most people are participating already.
yeah, that's kind of what we found out. It's like
As far as
especially now.
employees making,
Yeah,
Right.
employees, not people walking in, but just the employees.
Right.
And we don't really have any bars, so it makes it pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll skip that.
Do we have citizen
Do we have anyone that
input?
wants to?
Oh,
Do we have
does
anybody
anybody want to
signed
speak?
up who wants to speak?
There's no one signed up on it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put it. I need a tabling motion.
Make a motion, we table item 5.
All right, thank you.
Well, Randy, since we discussed, do we need to table? Item 5 is just a discussion, not an action.
Oh, it doesn't require action. then. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to the next one.
Randy, we
Yeah, we're.
good to move on since it's just discussion, no action?
If you wanted to entertain a motion to, close discussion. No action.
Okay, I think we're good to move on then.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Randy.
Next, yeah, thank you. Next item is consider approval of a revocable permit at 809 Northeast 21st Street for an accessory building located within a 30-foot utility easement. Application by Steve Chandler.
Mayor and council, this item is for the placement of a small accessory building in a rear 30-foot wide utility easement. This easement is 30-foot wide. It only has 3 utilities that we are aware of in this easement. As to why it's 30 feet wide, we couldn't say. But the applicant, if they were to comply with the 30-foot utility easement, their backyard would be severely reduced, and they really wouldn't have much utility to it. So the applicant is requesting to place his shed inside the utility easement, encroaching approximately 8 feet into the utility easement. We have received word from AT&T and OG&E. They are fine with the encroachment, and we have a sewer line in the rear, and we are also fine with the encroachment. It would not impact our sewer line at all. If the revocable permit is approved tonight, this would be filed at Cleveland County of record, and it would allow the city at any time, if the city needed to have access to this easement, the homeowner would be required to remove the structure at their own cost. We don't foresee that happening, but it is an option in the future.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Would you call for the vote, please?
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 7 is consider authorizing the budgeted purchase of 5 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles from Bob Moore Ford using state contract number SW35 in the total amount of $187,880.
Mayor and council, this purchase is a routine in nature purchase, just part of our natural fleet maintenance. These vehicles would be replacing vehicles that are 12 to 15 years old and have reached their service life.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Sorry. Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 8 is consider authorizing the budgeted purchase of 1 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle from Bob Moore Ford using state contract number SW35 in the amount of $37,756. 65% of the cost will be reimbursed by the Moore school system.
Mayor and council, this again is a routine maintenance of the fleet. However, this vehicle falls in line with our yearly partnership with Moore Public Schools in the School Resource Officer Program. Part of that contract says that they will reimburse the city for 65% of a vehicle. One of their requests is that we invoice it separately. That's why it's as a separate item on the agenda.
Make the motion to approve.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Chief, I have a question for you. How's that partnership going since you're new?
Oh, Mayor, Dr. Romines and I have known each other for quite some time. He was actually my wife's vice principal at when she taught at Winding Creek. And so I've known him for years, and he's a wonderful man. We have a wonderful partnership, a very strong partnership with Dustin Horsecotter and the Moore Police Department and Moore Public Schools. Couldn't ask for better.
I knew that was a system you inherited. I just wanted to hear what you thought.
It's a wonderful system, sir.
Okay, good to hear.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's what we like to hear. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote?
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 9 is consider resolution number 96020, adopting the 2020 to 2024 5-year consolidated plan, including the 2020-2021 program year action plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program, and authorizing the mayor to submit the plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is from the Capital Planning and Resiliency.
Mayor and Council, the consolidated plan is updated every 5 years. It's a requirement to receive our federal funding. We gathered citizen input via survey. We publish it online. Gathered comments about community needs, what residents would like to see, what areas we would like they would like us to focus on. We also contacted 36 public service agencies. We had intended to hold an in-person meeting, but COVID hit, so we just reached out, did a bunch of phone surveys with them. We were able to get 14 agencies to provide us information. The top priority areas that were determined were improving nonprofit facilities, providing community services, and improving city facilities, providing public services. Another requirement to receive federal funding is every 5 years an analysis of impediments to fair housing has to be completed. We contract with RKG and Associates, who did our last analysis. They recommended to shift some focus to older neighborhoods to remedy blighted areas before major issues develop. One of our ideas was to maybe establish a housing rehab program, which we did with our disaster recovery funds a few years ago. We do get a lot of calls on just small rehab requests, probably 2 or 3 times a week in my office. We usually recommend them to contact Serve More because they do kind of that sort of work. So me and Elizabeth have brainstormed just real briefly on running a program like that. So we think that that'll be something that we can explore and maybe establish within the next 2 to 3 years to deal with that issue. This plan also includes the 2020-2021 program year action plan for the next program year, which starts in October. Our full allocation is $340,784. The proposed budget is as follows. Administration will be $62,656. Metro Fair Housing would receive a grant for $5,500. Aging Services will be funded at $15,000. Bethesda at $10,117. More Youth and Family would receive $8,000 for both their first-time offender program and their school-based services program. Mary Abbott's Children's House would be at $10,000, and then the Kelly Creek Sewer Line will be allocated $224,411. We funded half of that project last year with our 2019 funds, so this will just supplement the remaining half of that project. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. All right. Item number 10 is consider approval of a professional services contract with Dotman Graphic Design Incorporated for website development and maintenance, waiving competitive bidding pursuant to Part 7, Chapter 2, Section 7-2057.
Mayor and Council, this is the first item of the Public Affairs Department, so thanks. How fun. Asking your approval for a contract with Dotman Graphics. This is the company that we previously had probably within the last 3 to 4 years. We started with him doing website development and hosting our website. Had no issues. In fact, he still currently hosts a website and develops a website for us that the Parks Department manages and maintains. We are definitely wanting to pull those together and feel that he's the best source to do that, and then take over the city's website as well for development, management, and then also for hosting services. Contract is in your packet. Be happy to answer any questions.
So who's currently servicing?
Currently, Staple Gun is the company that we've used since 2018.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, thanks.
Excited to see the improvements.
Agreed.
Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 11 is consider approval of a professional services contract with Trifecta Communications for the monthly video production, waiving competitive bidding pursuant to Part 7, Chapter 2, Section 7-2057.
Mayor and council, this is another formally making our relationship known with us, between us and Trifecta Communications. We have worked with Brent Wilbarger, who's in the audience, the CEO of Trifecta Communications, roughly since 2003, 2004, and have had great relationship with them thus far and hope to see that continue in the future. This is actually just a memorandum of understanding of what they will bring to us and then what we will pay them out for the remainder of this year, this next fiscal year, identical to what happened last year and the year prior to that also.
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Thanks, Brent, for all you guys do and
appreciate
everything outside of this you contribute to the city. So,
It's profound. Thank you for saying that.
All right, thank you for the motions. Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote?
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 12 is consider renewal of agreement with Signal Systems Management Incorporated in the amount of $17,520 to maintain communications and monitor traffic signals and operations at various intersections within the city.
Mayor and Council, we're asking the approval to renew this agreement with Signal Systems Management. They monitor the 19th Street corridor from Broadway out to Fritz Boulevard. Very important that that's monitored, and they can make adjustments as needed online. So I recommend we approve this, please.
I know we've had some issues in the past, Brooks or whoever can maybe answer that, and what are they monitoring? Traffic, but I mean, just making sure the lights are synced up and.
Yeah, they can make adjustments at any time. So if we call them and say, we're having an issue at 19th Street and the West Service Road, well, he can pull that up online and look at that and see, well, yes, I can change the timing here a little bit, and we can clear this traffic out a little. But the only time that we've had really serious problems is when we've had a camera malfunction or something that's, reset the computer or something in the box. But they generally take care of that really quick.
Okay.
Mayor and council, just as a reminder, that was brought up during the budget discussions, the equipment on 19th Street and many of those intersections needs to be replaced. And so in this year's budget, 19th and Telephone is slated for replacement. And so, we appreciate what Signal System Management does. And when they have some better equipment to work with, then I think it'll be smoother all the way through.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Thank you. Item number 13 is consider acceptance of a quote from Superior Fence in the amount of $36,640 for the budgeted installation of gates and ornamental fencing around the parking lot of Fire Station Number 2.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Would ask that you consider acceptance of this quote from Superior Fence in the amount of $36,640 for the installation of gates and fencing around the backside of Fire Station 2. This will be done very similar to the other existing fire stations to secure the backside of the building, and this is a budgeted item.
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 14 is consider if deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a vice mayor.
I would like to nominate Councilman Ham.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Councilman Ham.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Thank you
second.
both. And, okay, anyone else? Okay, closed. Would you call for the vote?
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, so what I do? Do I get to do anything? No,
Read
no
the next
parking
item.
spots?
It's your job to watch him.
Okay.
Okay, this time we'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting. Glad you're aboard, Mark. Item number 15 is a consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Public Works Authority meeting held July 6, 2020. Item B is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2019-2020 in the amount of $160,157.86, and approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2020-2021 in the amount of $415,764.74.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. It is a consent item. Would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 16 is consider awarding bid number 2000-02, purchase of one high compaction 32 cubic yard automated side loader packer body to Bridgeport Manufacturing in the amount of $160,530 as the lowest and best bid, and approve the contract for the same.
Trustees and trust manager, this is the packer body that'll go on the chassis that was approved at a previous council meeting, and it'll be for a route truck.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 17 is consider and deemed appropriate to accept nominations and elect a vice chair of the trust.
Who is currently the vice chair?
And secretary.
Let's see, the vice chair is Mark Ham, the secretary is Adam Webb.
I nominate Adam Webb for the vice chair.
Second.
That's my only one I'm taking tonight.
Can he do secretary? You do?
Last.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, right? Would you call for the vote, please?
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Welcome aboard. Okay, item 17 is, item 18 is considered and deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a secretary of the trust.
I'd like to-
Secretary is now Adam, or was.
I'd like to nominate Melissa.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we will recess the Moore Public Works Authority meeting and convene the Moore Risk Management meeting. Item number 19 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Risk Management meeting held July 6, 2020. Item B is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2019-2020 in the amount of $430,342.35.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, thank you both. We have a motion and a second. It is a consent docket. Would you call for the vote?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item carries. Item number 20 is consider approval of an FY 2019-2020 budget supplement to the budget additional funds and related expenses for risk management.
Mayor and council, this budget amendment will budget additional revenue received, which will support the healthcare claims expended for the year.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from council? If not, would you call for the vote?
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 22 is considered and deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a secretary of the More Risk Management Board.
21.
Oh, sorry, did I miss one? I did, I'm sorry. Consider and deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a vice chair of the More Risk Management. And the vice chair is Melissa, right now.
Nominate Jason. Jason's turn.
I nominate Melissa.
Okay. We could
I don't really
Melissa.
do anything on it, but fine. I can keep it.
Do we have a second on either one of them?
Well,
I can keep
I'm
it.
good with,
Okay.
we need one of the
I'll
others.
nominate Melissa.
I'll second Melissa.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second with Melissa. Would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Now, item 22 is consider and if deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a secretary of the More Risk Management Board.
Did we skip vice chair?
Are we allowed to nominate Danielle without her being here?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
we are.
Who's the
absolutely.
secretary now?
The secretary is Melissa.
No.
Right now.
Oh.
Who's the vice chair?
No, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Melissa was the vice chair and the secretary is Adam.
We nominate Danielle.
Nominate Danielle to do it. Yeah.
Okay, second.
Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we will recess the More Risk Management meeting and convene the More Economic Development Authority meeting.
Would you call the roll, please?
Danielle McKenzie, Jason Blair,
Here.
Melissa Hunt,
Here.
Glenn Lewis,
Here.
Adam Webb,
Here.
Mark Ham,
Here.
Louis Williams.
Here. Item 24 is a consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular More Economic Development Authority meeting held June 15th, 2020.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second. This is a consent item. Please call the roll.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis,
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes, item passes. Item 25 is consider and if deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a chair of the More Economic Development Authority.
I nominate Louis Williams.
I'll second Louis.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis,
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes. Item 26, consider and if deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a vice chair of the More Economic Development Authority.
I nominate Councilman Blair.
Second.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Glenn Lewis,
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes. Item 27, consider and if deemed appropriate, accept nominations and elect a secretary of the authority.
Adam is now the secretary at this point, so.
Is that your nomination?
Yes, we'll nominate Adam.
Second.
Second.
I didn't do that to you.
We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis,
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes. At this time, we'll recess the More Economic Development Authority meeting and reconvene the city council.
All right, thank you very much. Item number 28 is new business. Item A is citizens forum for items not on the agenda. We have 3 people signed up. Let's start with the first one, Cody Clark.
Can you state your name and address?
My name's Cody Clark. I live at 2213 Northeast 15th Street in Moore. That would be the Lost Creek addition directly behind, just east of the fire station number 4. Coming forward to the mayor and the council about some concerns that we have of a new resident. We have a resident that is clearly operating a commercial business out of his property. We're averaging 40 to 50 cars a week coming and going. We have tow trucks backing up. Have all this on video. Several of the residents are here to comment on it as well. There's cars stacked up behind the shop. They've killed their front yard completely. Even bobtail trucks, Certifit, I'm not sure if y'all know, that sell body parts, are backing up and taking parts into the residence, and also 18-wheelers delivering engines.
So you're suggesting it's like an automotive business?
I'm scared to find out what's going on there. I can tell you this, it's probably one of the most busiest auto repair shops in Moore.
So I've been out there about 3 times at different times of the day, and the number of cars that are parked in their yard along their drive and all that, yeah, it's kind of.
They average 35 vehicles that's in their circle drive and all the way up to their shop. And not only are we concerned about the residents being operated as a commercial aspect, we're also concerned about the safety of our kids and our neighbors. Right there at Northeast 15th and Lost Creek is a stop sign. You can either turn left or turn right. This residence is right there. And they park cars there all the time, which is impeding traffic. And we have kids riding their bicycles up and down the road. And it's a blind spot. So if you have oncoming traffic coming this way, and you have somebody turning, they can't see because we have vehicles parked in the road.
And there's not sidewalks in that neighborhood. for
There are
kids
no
to ride.
sidewalks, no
Right.
curbs.
This is a
Yep.
tight 2-lane block.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, it's clearly illegal. How do we stop it?
So I'm just clearly asking that, one, I bring it to the table today in hopes that we put it on the agenda for the next meeting to get an update to see where we're at. I have been working with code enforcement for the past 2 months. I have not got much there. Just about everything that's been provided have been from the residents of that neighborhood, which we have retired firefighters, retired captains, attorneys, school teachers, so on that live in this neighborhood. Majority of us have been there 16 plus years. And it's very, we're used to a quiet neighborhood.
It's frustrating for you, I understand.
Extremely frustrating. And testing cars up and down the road after they work on them, speeding, going to the backside, which is a dead end, Northeast 18th, racing up and down the road. You know, we're pretty much done with it. I will just say that.
I had a meeting with Mr. Clark this morning at 10 o'clock, and we've talked on the phone last week, and he has provided me with evidence that I think will suffice to file a charge of a zoning violation for operating this, and I told him this morning that once I get the witnesses' names and addresses, because I have to have them there to testify about their photographs, or they're not admissible. That if you give me that information, and he was going to provide me with some other information, then I can have the complaint filed, this week. It's not going to be a quick process, as I told him, because of the way the system, our ordinances are, as far as the court is concerned, with 30 days of getting a court date, arraignment date, trial dates. Our trial docket right now for September is full. has to cycle through to get to that aspect of it. It could be October or November before this thing ever.
I think at that
Is
point,
the-
it's going to be way
is the
out of
residents-
control.
Has the resident, they're just refusing to stop doing this? Have they been contacted in any way, Brooks?
That's my question. Yeah.
Several neighbors, I have personally been in contact with him, and he actually gave me his business card and told me if I ever needed any car repair work or detail work to give him, and I provided that with him. Not to mention the O'Reilly's parts delivery trucks going in there 2 to 3 times a day. I don't have a problem trying to collect all this. I'm a school teacher and a coach here for Moore, and you know, I have a job to do as well.
Right.
And so I don't mind collecting all this information, but I will tell you the frustration level that's in the neighborhood will not wait till October.
Well, and I guess maybe I need some help on the process, because if you're breaking a ordinance or a code, does code enforcement not go out and at least give you a fine and then we go down that path? I mean, how does that?
As of right now, the only thing that's happened as far as code enforcement is they've done a Google search and found operating businesses that are in the neighborhood and mailed citations to them. And these are companies that do not have people coming to their residence for work. They actually take their vehicle. For instance, a police officer drives his cruiser to his house, then he goes to work. The ones that receive the citations are in the same case, but since then they have been revoked. The citations have been revoked. But if they can do that to these 2 residents, how come they have not done it to this residence?
First I've heard of it. To the fire chief.
Well,
Do we
Randy,
have
hold
a
on.
commercial
Yeah.
inspector that can go out there and look at this? It sounds like a fire hazard.
That's, yeah.
If they're operating legally, then it's not a commercial business to this effect.
Right, okay.
So it's gonna have to go back to code enforcement.
Randy, were you going to answer? Would you mind answering?
No, which,
Melissa's
Yeah,
question.
as far as,
there's a process. Code enforcement can only, they're limited in being able to walk onto somebody's property and.
well, they can walk onto somebody's property and give them a
And ask
citation
them
for the grass being too long.
Right, and because that way they're seeing that.
That's the next door neighbor, Jason Sims.
They are seeing that violation from a public area where they have a right to be. You have search and seizure where they can't go up in somebody's yard and peer over that person's
Right.
fence. That's going to be an illegal search.
Is
Any
the-
evidence obtained from that is going to be thrown in. But if we've got some photographs from neighbors who aren't under those same search and seizure restrictions on the derelict vehicles, which I think code enforcement can issue a citation for those obviously derelict vehicles with state of disrepair, expired tags, that's all it covers. Violations for code enforcement are seen from a place they have a legal right to be. Somebody invites them in and says, hey, why don't you come out in my backyard and kind of look over here.
I mean, the guy gave him his business card and said, if you need auto repair, it tells me that they're using.
My question to city staff is the person doing this not aware it's escalated to this point?
From what I'm understanding.
City staff, real quick.
Well, we've been aware of the situation and worked with code enforcement, and we've got it in our city attorney's office, and as Mr. Brink is trying to say, there's a legal process that we have to go through in order, if the goal is to actually put this person out of business, then we have to go through this process, and we have to follow the rules, because we can exercise our frustration and get everything thrown out by the judge. So what have we accomplished? So Mr. brain is trying to tell us these are the procedures that we have to go through.
I guess what I'm saying is, have we not just simply tried to say, hey, close this down or we have to develop a case? No one has told this person that?
Well, if they've got
So none of that's been
citations.
communicated?
They haven't gotten
They
any
haven't
citations.
gotten
They haven't.
Have we not melted?
So my thing is, if
No.
maybe if we can just communicate, say, hey, you know, by October, this is gonna be on our court system, we're just letting you know, you should shut it down, you're operating illegally, and we have proof. Can we not do that? And just maybe that would fix the problem?
I seriously doubt that
Okay.
would fix the issue because the individual with what the residents are saying and the amount of cars that he has there, the amount of work that he's doing there, this is how he's making a living. He's just not going to abandon that, rightfully or wrongfully.
Right.
He's just not going to say, oops, I'm sorry, I'll stop. I don't think that's going to happen.
Can we refuse service of garbage and water? Okay.
The other concern that I deeply have is in some of the pictures you'll see, as the city attorney refers to, derelict vehicles. You can obviously see you got motors sitting on the grass and everything. And I'm pretty sure everybody in here knows Ron Shaw very well. And we spend thousands and thousands of dollars of keeping our city, our community pond stocked and fresh with water. And we're concerned with stormwater issues and drain off. It goes right into the creek that goes right into the pond.
I mean, that's one thing that came to my mind was environmental impact. Where's all the oil and things like that going if he's hiding this operation in his home?
Right.
Where's the,
Right, because there's no oversight.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Thank you.
Go ahead. And if you would, state your name and address for the record.
Robert Pearson, 2201 Northeast 15. First off, I am running not a commercial business, as he states. I am a mechanic. I have projects that I work on and do. And as far as what y'all talking about, oil and stuff like that, I've been involved with the EPA. I know better than none of the oil is being distributed in the ground.
Are you receiving payments for those vehicles you're working on?
Yes, I don't work on them for free.
That's commercial.
Correct, that's a business
Well,
in a residential area.
okay.
And you're gonna have to move it or shut it down anyway.
Well, understood. But just like this meeting, I wasn't supposed to know anything about this meeting that he set up with all of my neighbors. Anybody can come to me as a man or woman or whatever the case may be if they had a problem with me in the neighborhood and address it with me. And nobody has done that.
First I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So,
My point exactly.
but anyway, you will have to shut that down or move it. And I would suggest to do it as soon as possible because you don't want to go hear the judge tell you to do it.
Understood.
They're not very nice.
I'm glad you're here though, because I'm
Right.
glad that you can at least have the knowledge that it's gotten to this point. That was my concern, is that the homeowner, they have no
Well,
idea.
it shouldn't have been at this point
Right.
because
Yeah.
what they're saying, I'm impeding traffic and have a lot of vehicles there. That's not all the vehicles I work on. I have a big family for one. And then impeding traffic is, just to say, for instance, last week, I had a buddy that pulled out in the street. 5 minutes later, they called the police on me. But an hour later, another resident in the neighborhood had the whole street blocked from both sides of the road. They didn't call the police on me. So I don't know why is it that they're just, I think they're picking on me, practically. You know what I'm saying? If I can't do it, nobody else in the neighborhood should be able to do it. Right?
Right.
I think their concern is repeat offenses.
I understand that, and it's not a tow truck that's coming there. I have tow trucks coming there. It may be 2 or 3, maybe a week. And they drive everything in my driveway. I had one dropped off in the yard. That's this incident he talked about, and I got it. It wasn't there 10 minutes. I mean, I know for one, I'm new to the neighborhood, and I'm in a whole different area to where I'm at, so I know I have to keep everything down.
Yes, because the covenants in that neighborhood, they're gonna take you to district court and sue you next.
I mean,
So,
Well,
anyway.
thank you for coming and
Yeah,
speaking.
appreciate
It's
it.
difficult, especially with your neighbors here that are upset, so I appreciate
yeah,
it.
I'm upset about it too. They're not
Yeah.
the only ones upset.
Yeah.
So,
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Oh, I thought you had some, I'm sorry. All right.
Others
Is there anyone else?
Anyone else want to speak on this? would state your name and address for the record, please.
Lisa Gomez, 2109 Northeast 15th Street.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say northeast, what now?
15th
Oh,
Street.
you want to say, so, okay.
We just moved to the neighborhood about 3 years ago or so. And at first driving in, we fell in love with the neighborhood, how quiet it was, how clear the streets were and everything, because everybody seems to be quite, and for a non-HOA community, which it used to be before, way before us, we thought that was great because everybody seemed to take great pride in their properties, keeping their vehicles in their garages, on the driveways, or in their back, you know, their extensions or whatever, by their shops and whatnot. And also, you know, so we fell in love with the neighborhood and moved in, and we really hadn't had any issues with people with parking on a street. You know, you get your visitors that come for like the 4th of July, you can expect there's going to be a little bit of traffic parked on the side, but that's a holiday. It's a one-time deal. It's not a daily occurrence because otherwise it's quiet and peaceful and pretty empty on the streets, except for the occasional, you know, grass cutters that come through and stuff. And in a couple of months since the new residents at that 2201 moved in, within a couple of months, it was like a lot of cars were coming through there. A lot of things were being dropped off. I personally witnessed a yellow cabbed tow delivery truck driver, whatever, dropping off vehicles, like a white Ford F-150. I saw that twice, and I've seen a purple one dropping off, you know, vehicles off of that. I mean, you just keep rolling in and rolling out, rolling in, rolling out, and the cars are always changing on a daily basis because I have to drive by there. And you have to stop and wait if you've got traffic coming for one to go to the other because you do have that right-hand turn. That corner right there is also a school bus stop that my son goes to school. He catches the bus, and there's also another young child on the street that catches the bus there, as well as their 2 young children, the new residents. So there is quite a safety concern for that also, because, you know, these people that come by and deliver stuff are not, you know, they're beelining for the residents to drop stuff off, and I'm just concerned about that, especially when school starts up again. You know, my son's going to be back on the bus, and so is the other children as well. I mean, it's not just for the safety of our children, it's the safety for theirs as well. And I just want it to go back to the way it was, you know, and not have all this mess and noise. I heard neighbors complaining about loud music, and it's listed, I guess, under the property appraiser's website as an LLC. So to me, that's a business if that's the case. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I will say, I am researching with this. I did pull all calls for service from the police department.
All right.
And there were 3 noise complaints. Officers went over, spoke with Mr. Pearson, turned it down, shut it off. Either that or close the doors or something with that complaint. Applied with everything after the officers asked them to, and officers cleared and took off. So, you know, with that aspect of it, they went by and said,
It's cooperative.
yeah, but
Okay. Okay, Terry Wilson, sign up. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next thing. Any items from citizens not related to this? Any other things on the agenda? Item B is items from the city council or trustees. Yeah, I have one question that I got. It's on the railroad bridge, and they wanted me to explain the lawsuit if we were going to collect money, and we'd already sold bonds on it. We did not sell bonds on that bridge, did we?
Some bonds have been issued just in order to pay for engineering costs to date, but the overwhelming majority of the bonds have not been issued yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just making sure. Okay, item C is items from the city council, or excuse me, city manager or trust manager.
Just a reminder that the aquatic center reopens tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that and hoping that they'll be able to have a successful rest of the season.
Yes.
I appreciate the changes that have been made at the park too. It's been much calmer and we got better out there, so.
Well, appreciate the quick action.
Yeah.
when we
That-
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Okay, a special meeting on Thursday for mandatory mask. When was a good time?
He wants to do a workshop.
A workshop.
A workshop, yeah.
Okay, done, workshop.
You guys good with Thursday? You want to move it back? Mayor?
This Thursday?
Yeah.
When? What time do you say?
We didn't have
Let's-
a time.
Yeah, why don't we send some dates to city manager, if that's all right?
Yeah, that's all right with me.
Yeah, if you don't mind, and we can
Sure.
send some date and times.
But I think we need to do a work study session. The President of the United States at 4 o'clock changed his mind on masks, because he thinks everyone should wear one now.
But he's not willing to mandate it.
No, not yet.
Nor is the governor.
Correct. The governor. And this is the governor's deal. He should have done this already. We're the only governor around 17 states that hasn't done it. So, with that, next item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We had asked if we could put this on the agenda next time.
We'll,
We had agreed to do that.
to put,
Put that issue on the agenda, come back for an
Just
update.
the Lost Creek and give an update.
just an update.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mayor, you good
We do that.
with
Yeah, we
putting
do
that on the
that.
agenda?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, next item is adjournment. Item 49.
You need,
so
who made the,
I made the motion.
Okay.
We
Mark,
Okay.
did we have a
Yeah,
second?
I'm sorry.
thought you seconded it.
I'm second.
There.
We got a motion in 6 seconds, so. Let's call for the vote.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.